President Biden says the U.S. will once again tap into the country's oil reserves in an effort to help lower fuel prices. The move comes as gas prices have spiked back up in recent weeks. AAA says the national average is now $3.83, which is actually down from last week, but it's still up about 16 cents from last month after more than 3 months of declining. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News White House reporter Lauren Egan. Lauren, good morning to you. So OPEC announced earlier this month that it would actually cut oil production by 2 million barrels a day. President Biden criticized that decision, calling it short-sighted. So talk to us about the president's decision to dip into the oil reserve again. What's the strategy here?
That's right. The president, in a speech at the White House yesterday, announced that he was going to be authorizing the sale of an additional 15 million barrels of oil from the reserve. Now, the reserve are these big caverns that sit along the coast in Texas and Louisiana. And when they're full, they can hold about 620 million barrels of oil. Today, we're down to about 400 million barrels. So in that speech yesterday, the president also made another announcement. He said that his administration was going to start taking steps to refill that reserve. That's important for two reasons. One, obviously, national security issue. If we were to have some sort of major crisis, you'd want to make sure that those reserves were as full as possible. But it also sends an important message to the oil industry. Essentially, President Biden was saying to the domestic oil producers, start pumping more oil. There is going to be someone there to purchase it, meaning the U.S. government is going to be in the future buying back millions of these barrels of oil to refill that reserve. Take a listen to what the president had to say about this topic at the White House yesterday.
We're producing 12 million barrels of oil per day. And by the end of this year, we will be producing 1 million barrels a day, more than the day in which I took office. Today, the United States is the largest producer of oil and petroleum products in the world. We export more than we import.
So as you can see there, a big part of the president's strategy is continuing to put some pressure on oil companies to try and ramp up production here in the U.S., Joe.
And Lauren, I mean, we also heard President Biden call on Congress to improve energy production. What exactly does that mean? What's he looking to accomplish here?
That's right. The president in that speech yesterday said, look, I want there to be more oil production in the U.S. now to help address this issue of high energy costs. That doesn't mean that I'm abandoning my push for more green energy. The president has said we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And he's framed it a little bit as a national security issue. The White House has essentially said, look, we wouldn't be in this situation right now if we had more green energy in the U.S. right now. The president also addressed this topic in that same speech yesterday. Let's take another listen to what he had to say.
The process of getting clean energy projects approved is too cumbersome and too time-consuming. So I'm asking the Congress pass a permitting bill to speed up the approval of all kinds of energy production, from wind to solar to clean hydrogen. If we do this, it would take historic clean energy investments that I signed into law and put them into action.
Right after that speech yesterday, the president held another event in which he announced $2.8 billion in investment for 12 different states to help boost production of batteries that are used in electric vehicles. So as you can see, a big theme here is energy independence, Joe.
And very quickly, Lauren, if we don't see much of a dip in gas prices, does the president have any other tools at his disposal?
He said that he would consider tapping into the reserve again. He's definitely going to continue pressuring oil companies publicly. But to a certain extent, the oil markets are a global market, and there's always going to be some volatility inherent in them.
All right, Lauren Egan, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.